I am so excited for yet another Rebel Radio conversation with my new friend, Kenneth Lord. Welcome to the show, Kenneth. I'm so grateful that you're here today.
Thanks, Cindy. I really appreciate you. What an amazing show that you have here. So I'm excited to see what you have what we have to explore today.
Right? And you never know what happens on Rebel Radio. It changes every time. So before we went live, I was sharing a little bit of your numerology with you, and I find it fascinating because several years ago, you received this like giant reading from somebody that they'd spent like 8 hours putting together.
Yeah.
But I just shared like a couple of quick minutes with you, and I'm curious, what was one of your biggest ahas or takeaways from what I shared with you?
I love the way that you simplified it and really kind of broke it down into, these are some of the things that you do rather than this is your numerology. That was really great. And I would say that was probably the biggest piece to what you just said, because normally, when somebody explains something to you and you know it because it's you, it just is like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So I love it is 7. Yes, absolutely. I could see I've seen that for a long time. I understand how, the pieces come together. And so it was just nice to see how you were describing it. And I love the way that you just made it daily. It was great.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I am a simplicity magician. I like to make things simple and practical. It's a 4 thing.
Nice. Oh, nice.
So tell us a little bit about who is Kenneth Lord. What do you do? Who are you? What makes you magical?
I love to. I think one of the things I'm going to share, I'm going to talk with you about, Cindy, is that about Rebel Radio, because I really love this model that you created. Actually, I love the kind of the concept. I feel like there's so much more that you're going to be doing in the world, and there's so much that can happen based upon just your energy and your vibe and so forth, right? And so really, this would be me, right? Me explaining or sharing with others who they are, where potentially they're going in life, holding them at their highest potential, and helping them to and allowing them to quantum into who they are actually. So for me, that just comes naturally. So that's the answer to your question.
I love that. I love it. And, I do similar work with numerology and just using the modality of numerology to share with people. For me, the math is so accurate all the time.
Yeah.
So how do you work with clients? Who are you most motivated to serve?
Yeah, my clients are usually entrepreneurs who already have something going on. They already have a product or a service or a vision or a purpose, something. My intention is really holding that person to their highest potential and helping them to identify, create, clarify what I call your core destiny and your true purpose. And so, oftentimes these are individuals or entrepreneurs that already are doing fairly well, but they might be ready to go over the hump, but they're not. They just need somebody to walk with them more so than anything else. I found a lot of times what we as entrepreneurs need and want and kind of strive for is having somebody there to walk with us. Having people to do the work for us is one thing, and having a partner is another, but someone who's energetically there, right? Emotionally there, who's present, who can see the vision, help to clarify the vision, help build the strategy and understand the bigger picture, and then to reverse engineer that and create structure, systems, pricing, and all the processes and so forth. And so that's really where I excel. I excel at all what I just mentioned, which is high all the way to implementation. And just, it's one of those things that just comes naturally for me. And so, so generally my clients are at that point where they're ready for somebody to walk with them. And then now they can build and grow and scale super fast within, 30, 60, 90 days, because they already have a bunch of things in place already.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so cool because, I've been in this coaching industry for several years now. And in the beginning, I needed a coach to show me all the things, my fears and my blocks and all the stuff that was holding me back.
Yeah.
And now I'm at this place where, yeah, good luck holding me back.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
happen, but it is, and I have a business partner, and we share with each other all the time, and it's like we're walking together. It's not
Yeah.
something where you're never on your own. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
It is good to have, right?
Yeah,
And
so good.
business and business partners, just to add to that, my thought is that business partners are because they're already in the business with you, having say a business mentor or someone who is even being a mentor for both,
Mm,
it helps a lot. And the reason why it helps a lot is because you're so involved energetically and emotionally, whether
mhm.
tactically or that essentially, to really move to the quantum, having somebody on the outside seeing the bigger picture and seeing what your bigger vision is, there might be relationships that they might have that connect the dots. There might be resources that they have that are needed right now, or during that process, right? So I always encourage entrepreneurs to look from two generations above them, not just like the next level, but the next 2 or 3 levels. That's when you're really going to see the growth, because the reality of it is that change is instantaneous. It's resistance that takes time, and our emotions oftentimes are the resistors.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fascinating that you bring that up. That is so true, that it's the resistance to and the attachments that we have that makes it hard to make the decision. Once we make the decision, it's like boom, it happens so
Yeah.
fast. That is spoken like a true seven, by the way. I love
It's
that.
true.
It is true. It is true. And I can speak from experience actually recently of
Really?
something that my business partner and I were holding on to,
Mm,
and making the decision took us about a week to like let go of the resistance and the attachment. And
yeah.
then we made the decision and it was just like boom, it all fell into place. It was
Yeah.
easy. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Isn't
good.
that amazing? It's amazing.
So Kenneth,
So what are
that
you guys actually working on right now? Share.
Oh, well, we teach universal laws, we teach numerology, quantum numerology, but we're really focused. My business partner is a channel for Jonah, a stream of consciousness that has come in with her for over 20 years now.
Mhm.
And so we're working towards live events and putting
Nice.
Jonah out on the big stages and things like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That should be fun. Very
It's
fun.
time for live events again.
Yes. Yes. Agreed. Agreed. That should be fun. So you're going to start them in the Phoenix area or Sedona area?
Our first one is in September in the Phoenix area, September 2022.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear all that? Get ready. They're coming out. Remember.
This guy's good. He's getting me to plug my own work. That's pretty awesome.
I'm
So
just
good.
sharing. You're talking, right?
I love it. I love it. So, Kenneth, tell me what unity consciousness means to you.
Unity consciousness. Great question. That's a really good question, isn't it? And one that's so unifying.
Right? And everyone has a different definition, which I love.
Sure, sure, sure. Um, the question really is, to me, a much bigger question than just asking somebody what's their perspective, because it's such a point of understanding that in that point of origin is actually unity. And that point of origin begins from within us, and not only starts from it, it is in us all, always. And that's really my explanation of it. When that point of understanding is there, it's all there in one place.
Oh, I love that so much. Yeah, every time I ask that question, I get a beautiful answer, and every answer is correct and
Yeah.
is justified, and it feels good to me every time I get an answer. I've never gotten an answer that was like, no, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
How could you? All of us, we're all connected, and we all know what we're talking about.
So true. It's so true. It's
I
so
love
true. And also you're identifying guests who resonate with that conversation in the first place.
Yeah.
And in every decision, that sets up the next decision. And therefore, from the beginning, you've essentially set up the conversation with that person who's going to answer it correctly.
Yeah, exactly. We love it. So tell us a little bit about some
This
of
is
the
about you as well, Cindy.
It's all about me. No, just kidding.
Right, exactly. Go for it.
So tell us a little bit about some of the routines or rituals that you have in place as an entrepreneur to help support you.
Let's see. Well, I was just sharing with somebody earlier today. We were talking about a couple different things, and I explained to her that I ponder between maybe 3 to 6 hours a day. And
Mm-hmm.
the way that I look at it is that my intention is to have the greatest result or impact in the shortest amount of time with the fewest number of steps. And in order to come from that, in order to have that reflective time is important,
Mm-hmm.
because you can, while you're inquiring internally and you're getting perspective about what are those, or what is that specific thing or few things that I need to do or be part of that are going to achieve this one, achieve this in the shortest amount of time. That's what I do. And so I'm always I always put this perspective of what is the most important thing for me personally. So I have a list of 20 items I need to do for the day, for instance. And however important they are, if my intention is that I need $15,000 in 2 weeks, I put in my brain, nothing else gets in my way until I get that $15,000. I can put off every meeting, every anything else, unless it's absolutely essential, because what's important is that $15,000. For example, I'm just illustrating.
Yeah.
I might need that for rent. I mean, need that for the next quantum. I may need it for, and what it's doing is it's not allowing all of the busy work things to get in the way of extending the time it takes to achieve that.
Yeah.
And it also, there's a window of time in our lives for specific things. And the resistance oftentimes is trying to prevent us from being in the window of time, because if we're in the window of time, we can quantum. If we go beyond the window of time, it moves into a whole new phase, and we have to go through oftentimes another cycle in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that cycle in life, all of a sudden, things that were so busy and we were so into it in that moment, things were happening so rapidly, and all of a sudden there was one thing that didn't get done in the window, and when the window passed, all of a sudden everything slows down. Mm-hmm. And we're saying to ourselves, what happened? It was just going really well, right? And I'm sharing this information hoping that your listeners resonate with this, because it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
And until we are cognizant and conscious of the process of what actually happens, I actually teach something I call the process of life. And it's really understanding these key principles in order to be more fulfilled, be more aligned with who you are, and to catch those quantums, so that, today your quantum is going to impact, all the people that they need to impact, and not miss the people, because we're all interconnected. So you might have missed that opportunity, for instance, to that person who's waiting for you at Starbucks, for instance, but you might have missed that moment for them because your decision wasn't aligned with what it was needing to be in order to reach that person or to do whatever that was. Right. And because we're so interconnected, it could be your soul partner. It could be a business partner. It could be the funding that you were looking for your business, for your next catalyst. It could be lots of things. And that's why it's important to be so clear and so aligned with every single decision, every single moment, and to keep your concentration, no matter what, use your willpower to complete things in the timely manner, so that you're inside that window of time, and you're not going beyond it. It's so important that, and it's so challenging to, a lot of times for people to realize, but when you explain it to them, it's much easier to get, right? Have
Yeah.
you ever had that before?
Yeah, absolutely. To me, you're speaking about the law of divine timing, which everybody that knows me in my audience, I'm obsessed with universal law, and that there's these stages of divine timing. And then if you miss the window because you're caught up in the busy work and doing all the shit that doesn't matter, then
Yeah.
you got to come back into the cycle and do it again.
Yeah, exactly. And it could be 6 months or 6 years before you come back to that cycle, come back to that place again.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you can timeline shift with us and just decide to come back into it now. We also do that. We've learned how to play with it.
Depends.
Yeah.
Yes. Lots of options.
So one of the things that you brought up was this conversation around money, because you brought up the example of $15,000, which I love, because I love money. Money loves me. But I am curious how you define the word wealth. What does wealth mean to you?
Well, holistically, wealth, I'm pretty sure with most people, with me, I'll just say, is wealth holistically is being wealthy internally. That's more of an internal conversation of wealth.
Yeah.
And, so that's part of this conversation, was mastering the inner game and really understanding your relationship with, whether it be wealth, with money, with anything in life, relationships, etc., is the key to understanding understanding yourself is going to allow you to have a stronger relationship with those things, and that is going to reflect itself in your life and other people around you, right?
Yeah.
Is
Absolutely.
that?
I see that. I also see wealth the same way, as that it's the inner game. And to me, money is a material experience that just reflects back the flow that we have within our own being. And if we're in flow and we know who we are and what we want and why we want it, money shows up to play. And if we're not in flow, money's like, I don't want to be with you. All you do is bitch and complain about your life. I'm out. Check you later. Right? Money's just feedback. That's all it is to me. Yeah. I think that wealth is so important, because we get caught up. I have a gnat flying in front of my face. Excuse me. Well, look at the abundance everywhere. So we get caught up in the idea, and I used to do this. That's why I speak to this so passionately, is that I used to chase the almighty dollar, thinking that was everything. And then I started meeting all these entrepreneurs who had all this money and they were so unhappy. And so you got to find that balance of the work and the life and the love and the relationships and the connection to God, source, universe, and the dollars. You got to have it all.
Yeah, completely. And in my opinion, it begins from within, because every conversation that we have with ourselves is in direct proportion to how we have conversations with other people, how we treat ourselves in direct proportion to how we treat others. And so it begins really with the relationship with ourselves, and not so much that we're broken or that we need to work on ourselves so much as it is to be cognizant and conscious and intend for that alignment in every moment of our lives, not just every minute, but every moment. Because remember, man-made time, and every moment is every moment. There's there actually is simultaneous understanding, simultaneous reality. And we just choose to experience that or not.
Yeah. I love you brought up that we're not broken. That's so important. It's my clients laugh at me all the time, because I sound like a broken record. Awareness is everything. And it's as if we're walking through life in this giant fun house full of mirrors. And if we don't like something we see in the mirror, then we have the opportunity to have awareness of that and then pivot without thinking that we're broken or we need to fix something or need to heal something. We're already whole. We just now have awareness of something that we could do differently. That's
sure. Absolutely.
I love the fun house. So good. So what would you say? What is one truth? My guests love it when I ask these questions. What is one truth that you wish every entrepreneur knew?
One truth is I would like to, I'd love for people to understand themselves.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Because it really fundamentally stems from know thyself, which is an ancient conversation. And I believe that, the more we're able to understand ourselves, the better decisions we're able to make in the 5 key areas of our lives. So, an example of that would be, and this happens all the time, but what comes to mind are, let's just say a woman gets molested. Let's just say when she's 23 or in college, for instance. Well, that one experience changed the trajectory of her life because of the decisions that she's going to be making for the rest of her life, most of the time, and for her children's lives, because it's going to affect the children's lives. So that one experience is going to literally move her life in a particular way. Now, there's two ways that there's a few different ways, but in this example, there's two. One is she can go into the life of drugs and prostitution and so forth and move in that direction because it traumatized her so much. Another direction is she can be empowered and go out and start speaking to women and be empowered and helping women to be more empowered about that conversation, and also just be empowered in general, right? And oftentimes this is what happens when we go through these experiences in life, whether it be financial or relational, etc. We're pulling from those conversations, and they're designed for us to pull from those conversations, because what we are always looking for is the ability to relate to another individual. Yeah. And that is, to me, one of the most fundamental things that we do in societies. We look for relatability conversations with people. So an example of that would be, you have two women, they have children that are 13 years old, they just meet, there's an instant relatability, instant ability to connect, and now they're lifelong friends. Yeah. That is, they could be talking for hours just in that, moment. However, if you have two women and one has a child of 2 and one has one that's 18, they might relate to some level, but their conversation is going to dissipate pretty quickly, because the relatability of that at that moment isn't as clear as the first example, right? And so everything is about relating. And the more that we're able to relate to one another or to our audience, the better we're able to communicate and convey who we are as a product, service, vision, cause, or purpose in a way that they receive it, accept it, and understand it. Not in our way, but in their way. And because we went through those experiences, we're able to convey that in those contexts, right? There's two ways that I've identified. I'll just kind of show this. There's two ways I've identified that we relate. One is through direct experience, like I just mentioned. The second one is more profound. It's the interconnection that we have with each other. So an example of that would be a mother and a child that's not able to talk yet. There's such a clear inner connection that the child can be, saying something without, and then the mother just knows how to satisfy that child, just because it's an internal innate caring. It's what I call deeply caring. And when we choose to deeply care about everyone, when we are willing to do that, then we're able to deeply care and then convey who we are as a product or service or vision in a way that other people will receive it, accept it, and understand it in their way of receiving it, accepting it, and understanding it. Because then it becomes, it's like the companies right now, they do that. They collect all of our data. Where did that person shop? Where did they do all these things, right? But we actually have an innate ability to do that, utilizing our own relatable experiences.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. That's so good. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, sure. Oh man, I feel like I could talk to you forever. The time goes by so fast.
Okay, let's keep going.
Well, we'll have to bring you back on the show. But as always, we end Rebel Radio with one last question. What do you dream of for the world?
What do I dream up for the world? Well, mine may be so. What I would love to happen is for everybody to know themselves, because as I mentioned before, because essentially, well, let me pivot for a second here. My whole intention's about purpose, and this is what I'm doing with my clients, is I'm helping them to clarify and identify their core destiny or their true purpose in life. And what I would say is that for everybody to live out, to know and to live out their core destiny in life, their true purpose in life. That's what it would be.
Excellent. I love that, Dream. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate you. It's an honor.